this is Emily. I know of Tigro Angel. This video is going to be very emotional. I don't know how I'm going to hold up in doing this video, but I feel it's important because I was watching a video. I don't know how to explain it other than to say it was incorporating a Blink 182 song that I love. I love Blink 182 and I love the song. It's called Adam's Song. And it's about this kid, Adam, another Adam, it's coincidental from what I gather, yet the theme of the Blink 182 song, if you listen to it, it obviously is about a kid who commits suicide. But in this letter that was incorporated into the YouTube video, it was touching upon this kid's experiences in school and how he had to go through life with being left out, unloved, and it was a very well written, very heartfelt letter. It even seemed to be professionally written. But that isn't the issue that I'm trying to address here. Because basically, we all know there have been suicides that were publicly brought to our attention in the media through social media. We all know about Leila Alcorn, the transgender girl who sadly committed suicide. But we don't realize the magnitude of the pain and suffering these kids are enduring in schools. And it's very sad. And I don't know how to interpret these suicide notes because they are always going to be unresolved and they're always going to be painful. And in Leila Alcorn's suicide note, as in this suicide note written by Adam Krieger, that's the name of the kid portrayed in the suicide note, Adam Krieger. I don't know if it's fictional, I don't know if it's realistic, I don't know who to believe, but it doesn't really matter because the suicide note is about someone who has been betrayed in many ways and feel they don't want to live anymore, and they've had it and they've called it quits, and they wind up taking their life. And I know what it's like to be depressed. I know what it's like to feel suicidal. I know what it's like to question why we have to live in pain. And growing up different, and not being able to share it or express it was very difficult for me. Sometimes I even wonder how I survived. I had attempted suicide in my teen years. I was 16 when I tried to overdose. Um, I was very lucky that I was able to survive. I also had good people in my life to help me, but it was a struggle for me, and I never came out to people about my gender issues when I was a kid. I I I left that all in the closet. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to tell anybody. I basically just, held it inside. And that's not the right thing to do. It hurts and it's painful. And there are so many people that have something that is troubling them, but they don't know how to express it. And I think it's important that you come to terms with whatever it is and try to find someone in your life that you can trust to talk to. I mean, it's very hard to take on things all on your own. And one thing I've found, um, being out now in the transgender community, is that people start to look to me for answers for their own struggles and trying to piece it together in what they should do in their own lives. Excuse me, I keep looking into the camera because I'm still on a 15-minute time, so I don't want to go over. But they honestly want to figure out how to deal with their own struggles, so obviously they look for people who have experienced it, have communicated their own feelings. And I was not very outgoing all throughout my life. I was very in the closet. I was very shy. I was never sociable. Didn't feel comfortable around people. But something happened. I look at transitioning for me personally as a new beginning, you might say. Like suicide is a final act. Lila Alcorn, this Adam Krieger, young people who are lost and don't have anyone. It's very unfortunate that they come to the decision that their only option is suicide, because it doesn't have to be that way. There's no reason for someone to have to live in pain, but there's no reason for them to take such a drastic action. The pain is temporary. The action is permanent. Suicide is not the way to fix the problem. If you feel depressed, you feel alone, you have no one to turn to. Reach for a helpline, a support line. There is someone out there who will listen to you, who will hear you, who will help you. Don't take it on by yourself. You can survive. You can make it. You have to believe that. I also remember watching a channel of a transgender girl, another transgender girl, who seemingly was doing fine. She was transitioning, she was extremely happy. Everything seemed to be going well for her. But she had some family problems. She still wasn't fully accepted, though she was living her life as the girl she felt she always was. And I came upon an article about a girl who jumped from a bridge. And it was that girl, sadly. She decided that the issues with her family were too much to deal with, and she took her life. And that's not the only transgender girl who took her life by jumping off a bridge. There are many. There was a transgender girl, I think, in Poland or Yugoslavia, one of those Slovak countries, who did a YouTube video where she was crying. It was in a foreign language, her own native language, and she was visibly upset, and you could tell she wasn't really stable in her mind, and sadly she also committed suicide by jumping off of a bridge. It doesn't have to be that way. There was also another girl, I hate to be like this, but it is horrifying because I remember seeing another YouTube video with a transgender girl. They are all transgender girls for some reason. I don't know many transgender guys who have committed suicide. I'm sure there are, but it's not publicized. I think there was actually one in San Diego. I don't remember his name, but I do remember, I think Caitlyn Jenner actually did a interview with his mom, which was sad. But there was a transgender girl who did a YouTube video also preaching about not having to go to this extreme of thinking of suicide. And sadly, she was preaching not to, yet she fell victim also to suicide. So it is a tragic occurrence, and it does affect the transgender community. We're very hard hit by it, and we are coming up to the Transgender Day of Remembrance, which is November 20th. At my social group, it's going to be on November 25th, I believe, the day before Thanksgiving. But remember those who are transgender, And anybody in general who's depressed, be on the lookout, try to help them. Love you guys, Emily.